Hello and welcome back to the Underrated Channel. I'm Jor. I'm the host here, also of the 88 Sats radio channel. And it is Tuesday today, which means I did my 88 lessons talking about Bitcoin today, 88 different lessons about Bitcoin. And I'm joined by my co host, Arnie Boy. And this one's titled Do What You Love. Do What You Love. And there's actually a good song by a guy named Josh Ross, Canadian country song called Do What You Love. And I love that song. And I think it's so true. And I think, I just finished filming a video, a live stream with a couple of my buddies in Bitcoin, Forrest, Rajat, Brandon, and Robin. And one of the things we were talking about is the AI revolution and how it's going to affect people. And we all kind of came to the conclusion that there's going to be a lot of people out of work in the next 5 years. And we're definitely not alone in that thinking. And I want to talk about this today because I think when you just take a step back, I know everybody, if you're watching this and you have a 9-to-5 job right now, your gut reaction as humans is to resist change. It's to be comfortable. It's to keep going to work so you can get a paycheck, so you can keep providing for your family or whoever you're providing for. But I think you have to reevaluate things a little bit here because when you look at it, I think from this lens, it's really going to change, how you proceed, I think. So let me bring up the spreadsheet. We're actually taking a little break from Napoleon today. I'm going to save that for the live streams in the morning. But going back to our mission here, the purpose of this channel is doing more than paid for, being underrated, adding more value to the world than you get back in the short term, and getting less credit than you deserve, right? They all kind of tie together here, doing more than paid for, striving to be underrated. And so if you think about it this way, right now you kind of have two options as we head into this crazy world right now. So I would say that you have the 9-to-5 salary. Is it salary or celery? So right now, I think if you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're probably at least in the back of your mind thinking, hey, at what point am I going to be replaced here? At what point is OpenClaw 10 agents going to replace the work that I do every day and get paid for? And a lot of people don't really enjoy the work that they do. And that's a crazy thing. Last episode, we talked about the alignment in the sense of people don't even know what skills they have, and they're definitely not applying them properly in the world. And so I think that most people, this is kind of your option. You basically hate your job. And when you hate your job, you're spending hours every day at this job that you hate. So basically it kind of trickles into you hate your life. And I might even put that here, which is kind of, it's direct, but it's reality. If you hate the job that you're doing, you spend most of your life working, you hate your life. No matter what happens after work, the majority of your life is spent doing something you hate. So therefore, you hate your life. And you get paid enough. We'll call it that. You get paid enough to survive, right? Like I would be very hard pressed to find somebody out there who is doing really well right now. Because yes, wages have gone up. Some people might get inflation adjustments every year. You might get a bonus here and there. Your boss might buy you lunch. But for the most part, it's very rare, I think, that people are actually getting ahead right now. So you're just getting paid enough to survive. And that's, no way to live, I don't think. And that's not the best solution here. And the other part of this too, is that you're probably, whether it happens in 2 months from now, 2 years or whatever, you're probably going to be replaced. So that's kind of one side of this. That's one side of this coin that you're looking at. The other side here is you do your own thing. You start a business. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to go out and, register a name and get a logo, or you might want a logo, but you don't need like a brick and mortar anymore. You don't need a physical location. You don't need a bunch of employees. You can just do your own thing. Figure out what it is that you do well, that you enjoy doing, and charge people for it. You get a worldwide market now, and that's why Bitcoin ties so brilliantly into this whole evolution that's happening right now. So when you're doing your own thing, you have to love your work. You have to love what you're doing, because when you love what you're doing, you're going to be better at what you're doing. And when you're better at what you're doing, you can charge more for it. And you're going to want to keep learning. If you have an interest out there, it doesn't matter what it is. That's the crazy thing. There's just so much opportunity right now in this world. The world is truly up for grabs. The world is truly, wow, up for grabs. There's never been more opportunity than there is today. So you can find something, whatever it is that interests you. And in yesterday's episode, I talked about a couple different ways to figure this out for yourself. Number one is, what do you do without getting paid? What do you like doing when when nobody's paying you to do it? That's one thing. The other thing too is, if somebody asked you to give a speech, if you were at an event and somebody handed you the microphone and said, you got to do a presentation here for 30 minutes. You don't have a script. You haven't prepared it all. You just got to speak for half an hour. What subject would you talk about? And that subject, the reason why you're so knowledgeable and why you'd feel so comfortable and confident talking about that is because you enjoy it. And you enjoy it, and you've spent a lot of hours doing it and learning it and becoming better at it, whether you knew it or not. So you love your work, and therefore you love your life. Especially if you leave your job. You know, some people leave their job, their employer, and then they don't think about work till they get back to the next day. But if you're doing your own thing, you know, it kind of just becomes your life. But that's okay. Like, when you're doing something that you enjoy, it doesn't feel like work. And that's important. So then you'll get paid. You get paid enough to survive off the start, probably, you know, assuming you have a skill that's in demand somewhat. It's going to be tough. And hopefully, if you're watching this, you have some sort of savings or insurance that you can kind of tap into. For me, it was Bitcoin. When I left my 9-to-5 job in 2021, I was an accountant. I was a CPA. And thankfully, I had Bitcoin, because if I didn't have Bitcoin, I wouldn't have never left my job. I had to spend some of my Bitcoin. Unfortunately, I didn't want to, but I knew that I would have to, because I had to take that step. I had to make that decision. And as painful as it was in the short term, it's definitely paid off in the long term, or the medium term, I should say. It's not long term yet. It's only been 4.5 years. But you get paid enough to survive. You figure it out. And again, going back here, it's not like you're thriving over here. You're getting paid enough to survive. And I guarantee when you cut this off, you're going to figure out a way to get paid enough to survive. And you're going to make it work. And if you fail, you know, at least you tried. I think that's kind of how I looked at it when I was going through it. I was like, you know, there's a chance that I fail with this. But I don't want to be 80, 90, 100 years old and looking back and saying, damn, I should have just done that. What would have happened if I would have done that back in 2021? How much different my life would have been if I just would have done that back in 2021? Regardless of how comfortable I was, you know, but comfort isn't good. Comfort's bad. And there's a quote from one of my favorite guys, Kip Moore. He said, comfort, actually it says, make yourself uncomfortable, because comfort causes the spirit to die. So comfort's bad. You never want to be comfortable, right? And so you love your work, you love your life, you get paid enough to survive, just like over here. Really. You give less money to the government, which is a win, but you have a chance. And you might be replaced. Who knows? But I guarantee if you're working for somebody right now, that employer is already thinking of ways to replace you with technology. Guarantee it. Here, you have a chance. So when you're looking at these two things side by side, what do you think's a better option? Even though it is going to be uncomfortable, even though it's going to suck for a while. And if you're smart about it, you can actually realize that this is going to happen. You can dedicate time instead of watching Netflix every night. You can actually start building this behind the scenes. And you can get up an hour earlier in the morning and you can work on this. And instead of watching Love is Blind or any other bullshit on Netflix at night, you work on your business. And so you're still getting paid, but you're building this. So when you look at these two things side by side, I think it becomes glaringly obvious of what you should do. And if you agree with me, you're going to love this channel, because this is what this whole channel is about. Is, again, becoming more valuable, doing more than paid for. And that's what it's going to feel like for a long time. You're going to feel like you're doing way more than you're getting paid for. If you're working for an employer, you're making a salary, you get paid. Your productivity, the energy that you exert, you get paid for it every 2 weeks. That's not the case when you're starting your own business. You're going to put in a lot of work. You're not going to get paid for hardly any of it, but you're building something. You're building something that's more robust, more sustainable, and most importantly, something that you enjoy doing. Because we're only here for so long, and that could change. That could change literally tomorrow. I'm going into town. I got to get some groceries here right after this. And I don't want to jinx it. Thankfully, I got some wood here. But life's short. Life's very unexpected. And the one guarantee that we have in life is that it ends. And so you just don't want to be at the end of your life wishing you would have done something different. I think regret is my version of hell. Before I die, I don't want any sort of regrets anywhere. And so it's going to suck. It's going to be painful for a while, but you're building something that's going to last, and it's going to give you a fighting chance in whatever's coming down the road here. And even if it fails, just imagine that. Imagine you spend 2 or 3 years building it and it fails. At least you spend 2 or 3 years of your life, of your finite life, doing something that you enjoyed. Nobody can take that from you. So I hope this helps. I might even share this on my my regular channel, 88 Sats, because I do think that this is very important. But anyways, if you've been enjoying this channel, these episodes here, you can use this QR code. You can send some value back my way for what I'm doing here. If you've been watching, enjoying, learning, or just being entertained by it, there you go. And if it inspires something, who knows? This episode might change 1 to 100 people out there lives in their future direction. So yes, I think I'm going to share this on the 88 Sats Radio channel. So if you're watching this on Underrated, it's going to be on 88 Sats Radio. And if you're watching this on 88 Sats Radio, make sure you check out the Underrated channel. I'm going to put the link to it in the pinned comments here. Doing a video every day talking about this kind of stuff. So if this resonated with you at all, check it out. Check out tomorrow's video. So that's it. Hope you're having a great day today. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.